Yeah, it is good. Everybody's healthy, so it's all good. So
That's
um
great. Congratulations.
thank you so much. I appreciate it. Um Madam Clerk, are we ready? I guess everything okay?
I'm
No.
trying to get you on live stream. My internet is going extremely slow.
Okay.
I apologize.
Councilmember Shealy, is that new addition to the family going to be a Gamecock, you think?
Yeah, yeah, the other side of the family are actually Kentucky fans.
Oh, okay.
So Saturday decided it. That's perfect.
Y'all can go ahead and proceed. I'll just put the recording up later. I can't get it to live stream. I don't know what's going on.
Okay, you sure, Brittany? Because
yeah, I'm sure it's being recorded, so we'll have a copy of it.
Okay, well,
thank you.
All right. Well, if everybody else is ready, I will call to order our Recreation Committee meeting for November 20th, 2023. And if you would, let's please start off with just a moment of silence. Amen. Thank you. We need to, if you would, get a motion to approve the minutes for August 21st, 2023.
So moved.
Second.
All right, we've got a motion to approve the meeting minutes, and we have a second. Any other further discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the meeting minutes have been approved. Next up on our agenda is old business of naming of WPAL park site. I'm not sure who's taking that from here.
The mayor asked me, Councilmember Shealy, to get that back on y'all's agenda to have a discussion about that property being named WPAL Park, and then using the honorees to Bill Saunders as a picnic shelter, and then the dock being named after, I believe it's Miss Grant, isn't that right, Mayor? That is the mother of someone, and we would use the namings of this important piece of West Ashley Park property in that way. And so that was the request that I'd asked to put on the agenda.
All right, great. Thank you, Ms. Yarbrough. Mr. Bear, anything further?
So just a little further delineation of that. When this first came up, I think Councilmember Waring had spoke to Mr. Grant, Joe Grant. He's the gentleman who bought the property after it was WPAL. I guess he was part of the ownership even when it still was WPAL. And even though everyone agrees we should honor and remember Bill Saunders, it was clear after discussion that most folks' impact and recollection about the property and the station is to remember the station itself, WPAL. So we thought a good alternative, and then when Mr. Grant owned the property, it was during his ownership that the dock was built, the existing dock, which of course we plan to improve. But we thought a nice way to kind of cover all the bases and recognize the role the property played as a radio station was in fact to just simply name it WPAL Park and then have two prominent features of the park to be named in honor of Mr. Saunders and Mrs. Grant. That's the proposal before us today. And I spoke to Mr. Grant personally after Councilmember Waring had spoken to him, and he concurred that this was a very respectful way to proceed. So if with committee's approval, we would like to officially make that request that we have the WPAL Park, which will also honor Ms. Grant and Mr. Saunders.
Okay, very good. Any further discussion? Do we need to put that in the form of a motion?
I tried to just then.
Okay, well, I'll second that motion then, Mr. Mayor. Thank you. All right, any further discussion on that? All in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, the ayes have it. So, yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And under new business, we have a discussion regarding Stephen Washington Park, and that was requested by Councilmember Parker. Councilmember Parker, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Always happy to be here. So this really just put it on there. I mean, I'm sure Jason will jump in, but we had a really, really wonderful meeting over there with some community members, with the Parks Conservancy, and we're just really trying to get some traction on that neighborhood park, and it seems to be moving in the right direction thanks to Mr. Kronsberg and everyone else.
Great. All right. Thank you. Anything,
Jason, if you have anything to share, I mean, please do. If not,
sure.
Don't.
So what we did was like Councilmember Parker said, we had a great meeting with a number of neighborhood representatives, the former town of James Island mayor, and I think some other folks were there as well. I'm not exactly sure who it was. But we talked about the desire to make some improvements to the park, redoing the ball field, which it needs some grading and drainage work. Right now it's pitched the wrong way. Opening up some of the property by underbrushing and clearing, potentially a picnic shelter, reorganized parking area. Right now the park exists in the state that it was back in the mid 90s when by the time the park got reconstructed after it was obtained by the city. There's also a cemetery on the property, and I just got word from the Clemson Historic Preservation class that they are going to take that on for their class this semester. So I think they were supposed to go out there today and do some ground penetrating radar work and just do a little site visit to see what headstones were available and just take a little inventory of what's there. So that's kind of a cool project that the Clemson program is going to take on this semester. And then we're going to work up a quick little concept and put a cost estimate towards it and try to come back to the small subcommittee in January just to kind of review the big picture.
Great. Well, thank you, Mr. Kronsberg. Councilmember Parker.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And yes, thank you again, Jason. It's so incredible. I mean, the history out there is remarkable. And I mean, the fact that one of the things that we're working on as well is hopefully getting some historical markers, having planning involved or the county, whomever we need to, because there's a lot of history at that great park. I mean, obviously there's a cemetery on the grounds. But yes, I did see the Clemson team out there today, which was really exciting. I didn't stop to bother them because I figured I would terrify them, but they were out there and that just got me even more excited. So thanks again, Jason, for everything. And I just hope that, with the support of this committee and other council members that we can get this project moving, because it's such an important piece of James Island's history. A lot of significant, historical, things happened in that park as well as other parks in our James Island area. But with the town and the county, our multi-jurisdictional type overlaps, this is the perfect project to really be collaborating on, since there are a lot of town of James Island residents surrounding it. But then, as we know, it is our park, but we don't, everyone can use our parks, whether your trash can is green or brown. So I think this will be a really, really impactful project for us to do on James Island. So thanks again.
Councilmember Bowden.
Well, I agree with that, considering I took my son to a North Charleston park this weekend, which if you haven't been to the new Park Circle Park, I think it sets a pretty impressive standard that we ought to be trying to meet. But what's the I heard the ballpark, and I'm sorry I missed the other details of what y'all are going to work on out there.
Right now, it's really it's looking at a baseball diamond renovation, perhaps a picnic shelter, and a little bit of a rearrangement of parking and potentially playground equipment, underbrushing a lot of the property that's not accessible right now, and then working on the interpretation of the historic graveyard that's there.
Okay. So are we just voting to sort of give y'all direction to move forward with that?
I think we are moving forward.
Yeah. So we're going to work on some concepts in-house and bring it back to the subcommittee. I think it was from information only at this point.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Bowden. It really was just for information only. I'm just, excited about this project and a lot of good things happening over here. So I'd appreciate y'all's support kind of moving forward if anything comes up.
All right, Mr. Mayor.
So, Jason, I presume as your concepts come together is when you would come up with a ballpark budget on this improvement?
That's right. We'll come up with the conceptual cost estimate based on what we heard from the subcommittee, and we'll work with that committee just to kind of verify that the scope is kind of what everybody was thinking about.
Right. And we have been able to fund, this would probably be on the lower end of park improvements. It's not like building a new rec center. So hopefully we could budget out of kind of our normal capital improvements for parks improvements, but this would have been on the Parks Recreation master list for improvements as well, wasn't it, in our plan?
Right. Yes, it's identified in the plan for some needs. Yes. Okay,
great. Terrific.
All right. Well, thank you very much for that. Any further discussion on Stephen Washington Park? If not, we will move forward to, first of all, I want to just say congratulations to everyone who helped, and thank you to Jason and Lori for all of their work on this, and everybody that helped. It was a big win for us. It wasn't even close, and so our community is looking forward to the improvements that that we're going to make on our parks, and so. This is probably the first step in just kind of putting this on the agenda in kind of a discussion on what our next steps are and where we are early in this process right now. So I guess I'll call on Mr. Kronsberg or Mr. Yarborough, either one.
Mr. Kronsberg, please.
Yeah, so I did reach out to Amy, and I agree that kudos to all of us for a well done plan. Citizen engaged plan, overwhelming support. So it says a lot about our process and everything that we all worked on together. So again, pat on everybody's back there. So I touched base with Amy, and we didn't get a chance to really discuss the process, but I know that there's a whole thing about millage and getting millage on the tax records and then bonding process. So I don't really know what that schedule looks like. I think it takes a little bit of time. And my understanding is that taxes are collected in the arrears for property taxes, but there's going to be a process that needs to happen in order to establish the funding. And I think she said maybe mid-25 funding would be available, but I don't know exactly without having her on the meeting. So we'll continue to talk to her about what that process is, and then we'll report that out. We know we have the list of projects that were listed on the referendum, and I think that we all just need to come together to determine how that list is prioritized and what projects go first or second, and just understanding that we can't do them all at one time, and this will be a process and lots of good things to come for our parks and recreation facilities around the city.
Great. Okay. Any other questions along those lines? Mr. Mayor?
Well, Councilmember Parker might have had her hand up first. I just wanted to add, if I may, that yeah, it may take a little while to actually issue the bond, but it takes a little while to do design and engineering and permitting to get a project underway. So even if we have to, so to speak, borrow a little funding from a future project in order to go ahead in 24 and get our top couple of projects that we prioritize to go ahead and get them under design and permitting, so that when we get to the point where the bond is issued, we got a building permit and ready to do a couple of them. I think that would be a thoughtful thing to do, to try to utilize this time, you know, to get something, you know, get some shovels in the ground once the money's available.
Yeah.
All right, very good. Councilmember.
I know Jason on that. He talked already about him going ahead and hiring another project manager. Sorry to jump in. Thank you.
Yeah.
Councilmember Parker.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And yes, I mean, the mayor literally took the words out of my mouth. I mean, I understand that there's a process for the funding, but, you know, my hope, as well as hopefully the will of this committee and council, is that we can certainly, there are things that we can do, design, maybe not bid out projects, but some type of design, visuals, you know, possibly placing things in and around town, you know, just so it, I mean, this was a big deal, you know, and these are what taxpayers are paying for, and these are what, you know, we can hopefully see in the future. I think it also helps give us a goal. I know me on James Island, it would certainly be impactful to have these visuals or sort of that next step, because we do have a lot of collaborate, you know, we have some entities over here, municipalities, that could collaborate on those ideas as well. So I think that would be really great for moving forward as a next step, you know. So yeah, thank you.
All right, very good. Anything else on the bond referendum? Well, again, thank y'all for everything. I'm sorry, Ms. Yarborough, were you getting ready to say something?
I was just going to add, Councilmember Shealy, I'm sorry, but I think it would be a great idea if the city could, I know the details are still being worked out about timelines and things. There was an article in the paper the day after, but it would be really great if we could get the Post and Courier to do some kind of highlight about what this bond's going to help do, and thing, you know, that kind of thing, celebrate some of that victory kind of, because I do believe a campaign of having some kind of recognizable sign that citizens are going to say, hey, that's what that money's going for. That's what that money's going for. It's really going to create some energy. And right now, I just feel like, I can only speak for my department, and I'm sure Jason probably feels the same way. Things are really excited. Everyone's excited. Things are really on a high right now. Yeah. And it would be great, whether we're ready to build a new swimming pool or not tomorrow, if we're going ahead and getting our residents talking and engaged and thinking about that. So I love that idea. I really wish we could push something out to celebrate that victory.
All right, very good. Yeah. Okay. Well, we will. Oh, I'm sorry, Councilmember Bowden.
I love that everybody's so excited. I'm certainly joining your excitement. I think we need to just be a little bit careful in how we communicate this. I think people can have a tendency to vote for something and expect it to happen tomorrow, and not quite realize what all goes into it. You know, if I had maybe a penny is the appropriate way to say it, but if I had a penny for every time somebody said, well, Glenn McConnell's not done yet. And from my perspective, those guys are working at light speed to get that thing done. You know, I think I'd be a rich man. So, you know, let's suppose just be a little bit careful about how we're setting expectations for how things are done. Because the last thing we want is to go out there and put a sign and say future park referendum project and let, you know, something, and, you know, let it start getting dirty or something in a, you know, year or so pass, and people say, well, what are you doing with our tax money? So just my 2 cents there.
All right. Thank you, Councilmember Bowden. Rick Giroux.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I was just going to say that I think what the mayor discussed, if we could have something out there talking about the process and the fact that we're going to start doing some of the design and permitting, so that the people know that there's some momentum going on after the passage of this, without actually showing what things are going to look like, but get some message out there about how this process is going to go until we actually start doing some shovel-ready projects. Might make some sense.
Okay, very good. All right, anyone else on the bond referendum and next steps? All right, well, very good. Well, we'll continue to have this, as an agenda item as we go along. We will continue. That's certainly one thing we can do from this committee is keep it on our agenda and continue to get updates each time we meet. And we can certainly do that with the next meeting and or the January meeting as well for the new year. So, Councilmember Parker.
Sorry, one last follow-up question. So if we are, I think we do, that's going to be on Jason's radar moving forward. We're going to plan that next step and maybe get some design going or something. But if that were to happen, I mean, that's all in-house, right, Jason? I mean, that's all done similar to what you're doing with Stephen Washington, correct? That's nothing that you need to necessarily have funding for, or is that something, what can you explain that real quick? Like that next step, having that piece, is that just in-house?
Not for the larger projects. Small renovation projects are easy to put together a quick little concept. Just the bandwidth of us being able to take a larger project and do that, we really wouldn't have that ability. We would go through a selection committee process as long as things are funded, select consultants, and assuming that we're going to pick one project first and then the next project's on the kind of radar. But then there will be a number of other projects associated with the referendum, the deferred maintenance kinds of stuff that we'll be able to put scopes of work out for, say, maybe there's 10 parks that need all new fencing, or the new lights, or ADA improvements, or new drinking fountains, new signage. So we'll just have to kind of start strategizing on the most efficient way forward. But we wouldn't be able just to come out with a bunch of concepts without going to the community, gaining their feedback, having a consultant team on board, and kind of going through the full and more robust process.
Mayor Tecklenburg.
So thank you, Mr. Chairman. Could I suggest maybe at our next meeting we try to set some of those priorities? And if I remember correctly, even when we went through the master plan, that we kind of broke things down into the major, bigger things like rec centers and swimming pools, and then a second tier of kind of project size or expense, like just, putting up some lights or redoing the field, and then a third category of more like maintenance items that just need attention, and try to come up with at least top 2 or 3 in each category, so that we can start thinking about just those things that Jason mentioned, like if the ones that are going to require a little budget to hire professionals and help, that we kind of go ahead and decide which of those priorities we would like to rank 1, 2, and 3, and so forth. So it would just start adding some meat to the bone, I think, moving forward.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, does everybody have access to the master plan that's on this committee? Okay, good.
They should.
Okay, good. I know I have the smaller version in print, but I've got the large version that's a link on the computer that I usually go to if I need to find more information. But
yeah, and you can just Google the Parks and Rec master plan, and the link will come up for it on the city website.
All right, very good.
If anybody needs the digital copy. Otherwise, I have a couple more paper copies if anybody wants one.
Very good. All right. Any other discussion on the bond referendum? All right, very good. Again, thank you for all your work. Everybody on this committee played a part in this, and and a lot more people did as well. So, you know, obviously our constituents have been heard. They want to see these improvements. So, anything else to come before this committee today?
Happy Thanksgiving.
Yep, just want to wish everybody thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you. I hope everybody has a wonderful Thanksgiving. Hopefully you get some time away with your family and get to enjoy yourselves and be thankful for all the gifts that we have. So, if there's nothing else to come before this committee, Councilmember Parker.
Just a big thank you, Lori. Recreation out here, I mean, incredible. We were out there last weekend, all your employees, I mean, fields, staff, everything. Families, kids, everybody had a great season. So thank you to all your staff.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. I'll pass the word along. Jason's folks did a really good job getting our fields overseeded. Our fields look great the last few weeks.
Yeah.
It's been really good. We hosted an all-star soccer tournament at West Ashley Park, and I couldn't have been more proud. So
fields looked great. Staff were great. It was just all over. Jason and Lori, thank you so much. The kids and the families had a wonderful season.
Yeah, I do want to say, Lori, that the soccer fields and the staff out there, everybody seemed to be very, very organized. I happened to walk through West Ashley Park for the All-Star games and looked like everybody was doing an outstanding job. And I've heard back from some of our local teams too at how well it was run. So congratulations on that and thank you.
That's a Stacy Collins. Thank you. So I'll pass that on to her. She did a great job, and we're just thankful that we were able to host a tournament without this week's rain. So that was great.
Yeah, Stacy did a fantastic job. I know Sarah was out there, and I saw Robin Cooper out there as well helping out. So, so appreciate that from everybody. So thank you.
Thank you. I'll pass it along.
All right, great. Well, if there's nothing else to come before this committee, we stand adjourned. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, everybody.